Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining today's live webinar. I'm Dr. Shah Siddiqui, your host for this webinar. As you know, that this is the Accessadvisr monthly webinar we do every Tuesday from 11 to 11:45. And today we have a very special guest with us, and as well as um, Rob Trent. So I will introduce them. And you know that Accessadvisr, we are trying to improve the accessibility nationally and globally from UK. So we have our, as usual, guest, Rob Trent. Those you don't know Rob, um, he's a mouth artist, and he has this. He's the founder of the Accessadvisr. Accessibility is a core thing. If you are disabled or you are less able people, without accessibility, it's very hard for us to go to a place and as well as spend time, quality time. So, Rob, thank you very much for joining today's live
Pleasure.
webinar. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, it's a beautiful day at the moment, so looking forward to speaking with you and James as well.
Thank you, Rob. So before I add James to the live, could you please give a little bit of introduction about you and Accessadvisr?
Well, Accessadvisr is a business that is all about working alongside other disabled people. It's really about creating information about accessible places and not so accessible places. And we started with the website. And very briefly, I'm going to cut a long story very short. We've been working with HeX Productions and James for some years now, and they've been very supportive in what we're trying to do. And we'll uncover some of that as we go on a bit later. But the story is that we're grateful to HeX Productions for their work and everything they do in helping us, and I think they get accessibility as much as we do. So to me, it's a partnership made in heaven.
Thank you, Rob. And to all our viewers, I just wanted to add you a very core message here. We're going to be bringing all our uh, collaborators as well as all our supporters part by part in next few months. And if you wanted to support us with a sponsorship package, feel free to contact Rob Trent or me, and we will go through with what you will get in terms of the support and as well as what we would cover. And Raw, we have a YouTube channels. It's more than 600 followers. We have a Facebook page that is now nearly 1,000 members. So with our sponsorship package, it will help us to extend our reach to greater market and as well as develop certain things for accessibility and all other things. So if you are watching this live, feel free to contact us, and we need your support specifically to grow this conversation to the next level. So I will add James now. So James Hall from HeX Production, as Rob discussed about you, the way you are supporting Accessadvisr. Thank you very much for joining today's live. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Yeah, thank you, James. So I wanted to ask you if you could give a little bit of brief introduction about you and HeX Production, what you do, and how you supporting local community or national, international community.
Yeah, certainly. So since I was at school, I've been being a web developer or trying to create web services online. Started from my bedroom, worked my way up to be able to build HeX Productions as it is today. So we're a Nottingham-based digital agency, and we focus on accessibility. So we understand and have worked with a number of users and real people to actually test our websites and actually gain that information and knowledge to make sure that anything that we create can be used by the vast majority of people. Not only do we use that knowledge and build websites, we like to share that knowledge as well. So we provide training. We make sure that we can have a workaround with other teams to actually share our knowledge via audits or tests or conferences like this to try and pass our knowledge throughout.
That is great. James. My first questions to Rob: how you come across James and how you have started your collaboration with James, because he's been supporting for many years now, as we know.
Okay, I'm going to be honest here. The memory is fading a bit, and how we got in touch, maybe James will be able to help me in the first place. But we did get together, and I think I also at one stage went to Nottingham and gave a talk to some of the people about Accessadvisr and accessibility. How we actually came across each other, I think I must have been searching for a new host for the Accessadvisr website, someone that was as passionate about accessibility as I am, and HeX Productions, they came into my focus, and we've been working together ever since. And from my point of view, it's been a great relationship. Hopefully James will say something similar along those lines as well.
Yes, James.
Yeah, definitely. It's been, one of those wonderful matches where we it's good to get on personally to go through that, and you share the knowledge and experience and passion from an accessibility side of things as well. So not only have we kind of developed the website with new features and new ideas, it really was this is a back and forth discussion about what you're trying to achieve. We see a lot of kind of websites just want to chuck something on a website because that's what we've heard to do. Rob's been brilliant with coming with ideas, kind of giving us some ideas of how to improve. And yeah, the back and forth and the conversations and the future developments that we've been putting together have been wonderful over the years.
That's great to know, James, because there are many companies in the UK and internationally, and when there are lots of you can hire people from outsource and all other companies based on your work, and as well as working with people like Accessadvisr or any other companies. What make you think about specifically supporting them with specifically these projects or any other projects that you can name?
So it is it's good to get as many websites in as possible. As a businessman, that's always going to be the case. But you have to take it from a team's point of view. Why are people coming to us for the support? Obviously, accessibility is a very high factor in this. So we've taken kind of the decisions when we do go for websites. Is this right for us? Is this right for the team? We work with charities, and one of the charities came to us with a comment saying that they test websites. They want to make sure that everything is accessible. At the end of the day, we want to make sure that all of our knowledge is passed on to the people that we're working with. So we want to work with people that want to develop themselves as well as their product or their business or their organization. So we look at many factors on this side of things. We also started to see when we transitioned from more of a just building a website point of view to developing websites as a standard, we took away that business case for it. We are going to develop your website to be accessible regardless if you like it or not. This is just the morally right thing for us to do. And we found that by saying it that way and by demonstrating what we do, you gain that trust and that passion from other people that you may not necessarily would think would carry on that accessibility drive. So it's been something that's been wonderful to see, and it is something that we like to promote, and really like to see them grow as well as ourselves as an organization grow.
That's a very good point that you just raised. Like, even you working for someone, and if they don't understand the accessibility, you tell them that, okay, you need this. I work with many peoples due to my work capacity and all other things. The hard thing is to get them onboarded with accessibility, because they don't think why it is needed. And another thing is they don't have the funding to add a little bit of layers and other things. So my next question would be to you: how you support individuals, and what type of additional funding do they need if they think about proper accessibility assessments or all other things?
So may sound a little bit controversial at the time, but we see that more and more people, mainly from a funding point of view, have let's say, a small budget,
Mhm.
and they get talked into buying these accessibility toolbars or these accessibility plugins that just drop onto a website that don't really offer that extra level of accessibility. There's no care and thought process that's gone in behind the scenes. There's no testing that's gone in there. It's just been something that's been dropped in. So what I would say for people that are looking at that, it's more about the learning and the education that you can bring in to your developers, to your designers and content writers, to see how they can actually start to bring in accessibility from the core side of things. That is much more important than a quick fix or a tick of the box. We need to make sure that the knowledge is passed on and the knowledge is then developed further. When it comes to kind of doing this or bringing in accessibility into your project or organization, you have to remember it's not just one single person's responsibility for accessibility. This has to be an organizational shift. So a couple of £1,000 is not going to bring that organizational shift when someone's just ticking a box. You need to make sure that, again, knowledge, insights, training can get pushed out throughout that. Because what will then happen is you'll have accessibility running in through the heart. From the very start of a project to the very end, you know that accessibility has been woven in and technically not cost a thing, because that whole project is going to be running through and through, using the knowledge and the gaining the experience that people have had throughout that.
That's a great example, I would say, James, because some people really they don't know what they are doing. As usual, they don't know the specific knowledge they wanted to add, and as well as something that, okay, if you wanted to tell them, like, okay, you must do this, the user scenarios and usability and all those things, but some of the things that I have seen that they do very, very great jobs like you do. And in relation to that, I just wanted to ask a question to Rob. You know the Accessadvisr. You partner with HeX Productions. They are supporting you end to end. Why you felt that you need a platform like Accessadvisr?
Why I felt, sorry, I missed the last bit.
Why you felt that you need a platform like Accessadvisr?
Well, I just think, if Accessadvisr is going to be working with companies, and I hope I'm getting the right end of your question here, that it has to be with companies that do share our vision for accessibility and to me, and inclusion. And to me, that's not just about having an accessible website. It's also about the vision for Accessadvisr as a company. Can we go forward, including as many disabled people as we can, in being totally open about accessibility, admitting where we get things wrong, trying to improve. That for me is why, we want to sort of work with companies like HeX Productions, because as James said, their projects consider accessibility from start to finish. And what we want to do is to try and include as many people as we can in what we're doing.
Thank you, Rob. So my next question to James, in this digital era, we know about, the technology is growing very rapidly, AI and all those things. Why we need to think about accessibility and laying out the foundation of what we do to get better performance?
So I feel like I'm going to go over myself again, so I do apologize. But it is knowledge is the big one. So it is finding out what other people are doing. So competitor analysis, seeing how people are actually performing in different ways, real world testing. You can't be accessible by just using an automated tool. You have to work and test and have a conversation with real people to understand what they're going through and to understand what tools they use and to understand what needs to be done. You're absolutely spot on. Technology is growing at a wonderful rate. I never thought that we'd have to kind of think about how we're going to use AI and virtual reality in a single instance, and how we can actually make the accessible world we are in today a better place with these tools as well. So we have to learn as experts within the industry. We have to test ourselves and try and understand and try and push the boundaries. And one of the biggest ways that we can learn is by making mistakes. test, and actually understand what people are going through. One of the key memories that I've got is one of my first ever web jobs within a local authority. I was really proud in something I built. I achieved every bit that I needed to achieve within this brief. It went for testing, and a blind user couldn't use it. Right in front of me, demonstrated what's going on, and that is one of the best times and worst times of my development career, because I understood from there, by talking to this person, what I'd done wrong. We went back and we fixed it, and I've never forgotten that. I've passed that knowledge on, and we've built kind of our websites knowing that what we need to do to test, and that is one of the best ways to learn. And that wasn't using any fancy AI or virtual reality. That was just using kind of a keyboard at the time. So I'd love to know what's round the next corner and what we can learn.
That's a great explanation, James and Rob. To all our viewers, thank you very much for joining today's live webinar. I just have some messages from our audience. The first thing is Saladin, and he said, Dr. Shah, Rob, Trent, thank you for hosting this webinar and sharing your insight with us. Thank you, Saladin, for your message. We have a question. How does Accessadvisr help user share and access real-world accessibility information? That's to Rob, please.
Okay, thank you. I mean, I'm going to touch on what James has said. It's about learning and passing that knowledge on. First of all, Accessadvisr, I didn't want it to be about me. So talk about how we set up the website and the story behind that later. But we've got a website which allows anybody to go and rate and review a place for accessibility. This is not Rob Trent, the influencer. This is the disabled community being able to go and rate and review their own places. And that worked okay for a few years. But I wanted more. As James said, technology is improving. Social media platforms are growing. And so we set up Facebook, where people can discuss their accessibility issues or share things about their company. I set up a YouTube channel where at the moment, mostly it's about places that I go to, and it's vlogging my experience. But we've had one or two from other people, and if anybody's got any accessibility videos they'd like to share, we've got over 600 subscribers, and we'll share them, on our online community. And we've got Instagram. I think I'm not too hot with Instagram. It's a bit new for me. I get my daughter to do most of the posting on that because she understands how it works. But to me, it is about sharing, learning, and passing that on to other people, because my experience is different from everyone else's. So who's going to want to know about my experience in a wheelchair? Well, maybe they will, but they'll want to see a lot of other people's experiences as well, so they can make more informed judgments about what suits them and what's right for them.
Thank you, Rob. So we have another question. I think we have answered part of the questions on our conversation previously. I wanted to ask James, what inspired you to come up with the idea of HeX Production? Is there any story that you wanted to share with our audience?
So I think it's been something that's always been a passion. It's something that I've done since school, and I think it's something that evolves. So at the time, you want to make either a fast website, or you want to, back in the day, make a flashy website that moved all over the place. But then when you actually kind of mature, you grow up, and you understand what you need to achieve, that's when certain things like the usability comes into play, and then therefore how accessibility is working. So you understand real world scenarios. And we've been very lucky to be working with either the higher education sector, university sector, or the NHS and the health sector, people that require accessible websites to get the information they need, to actually work with people that have had problems in the past to accessing the information because a company, an organization has not been able to make that content available for them, and to then sit down as a team and come up with an idea or a way of doing something will spur on the next idea and the slight evolution of HeX. So there'll always be a new way that we're looking to improve and change. And if we're just standing still, then essentially we're going backwards in what we're doing.
Yeah, I'd like to come in on that as well.
Mm-hmm.
And what inspired me was like 40 odd years of frustration at accessibility about everywhere. And luckily I work for a company, a mapping company, which asks for ideas for the best way to use their maps. And I suggested Accessadvisr, and that's how it grew. So, you know, I think they back me in developing the website, and we've gone on and grown it from there. So that's what inspired me, a passion, a lived experience, I guess you could call it.
Mm-hmm. So my next question to Rob, you know, we work together now. I joined this year with you, and you are working with GEMS many years now. What are the core struggles you faced previously, or you're facing now, to get to the right audience and as well as get to the right company to support you with this work?
The struggle is, as you just said, engagement, really. I think it's hard. You know, we've been a very small business now for a long time. And I've been doing it on my own, with James helping with the website, but I've been trying to run it all the other bits and bobs on my own. And one of the biggest challenges is trying to get out there, trying to make people what we're doing, because I want it to grow into a sustainable business that employs mostly disabled people, is run by disabled people, owned by disabled people. I want this company to be there for disabled people. And my challenge therefore, is trying to raise funds to make improvements. You know, we're coming up with the old chicken and egg. You've got the improvements in mind, but you haven't got the funds. You can't get the funds if you don't make the improvements. So it's always a really tricky balance, and trying to grow organically as we go, you know. And I want someone in the end to take over from me, because, you know, I'm over pension age now, and one day I want this company to be owned and run by someone else.
Thank you, Rob. I have a next questions. What are the biggest challenge businesses face when implementing accessibility practice? This is to James.
I think buy-in is a big one. You know, you need, you know, it's great to have a one person or a team championing this, but you need to have buy-in throughout the whole organization. So making sure that you can try and find ways to allow people to bring that in. Yeah, I don't like talking about money when it comes to accessibility, but at the end of the day, teams and organizations do need to bring that in. So if they can find some funding to allow them to go on some training or have some audits or to kind of re-evolve their sphere, then that's something that would really help them. But that only comes from the top. You need to make sure that, you know, if you are being given X amount of money, then you have to show a return in that. So by making a website more accessible, you know, that's going to be bringing more people in, because you're not excluding anyone. So you can try and find ways to do that, but I think making sure you've got it coming in from the top is one of the most important things to do.
Thank you very much, Rob, and as well as James. So to all the viewers, thank you for watching today's live webinar. We will have some more questions to answer. But before I jump into my next questions, our Accessadvisr promo is done. So we're going to be sharing that with you on our social media. So the main thing here is that we wanted to support people with disability. Doesn't matter they are in the UK or they are in the other parts of the world. Our main concern is to support accessibility whoever you are and wherever you go. So we need your support for us to continue grow these projects to the next levels. So we have some sponsorship package, and we are working with GEMS to lay out the new site. So you will find our partner information, our sponsor information, and all those things. So we have good sponsorship packages for you to support us, because without that, we will stuck in a place that we cannot go beyond our limits. Because HeX Productions, they are supporting us. whatever resources they have, and we are being supported by other organizations as well. But we need a wider community to support us in relation with donations, in relation with the sponsorship package to go to the next levels. So I will jump into my conversation again. James, you're supporting with you support Accessadvisr, you support other charitable organization as well. What motivated you to support this? Because supporting an organization is just like spending you or supporting them with your resources, and that also costs money. So what inspired you to support Rob or any other organization in the UK and elsewhere?
It's believing in a cause, believing in a reason. So I'm very lucky. I can travel to football grounds and I can go to cafes and university buildings, and I don't have a problem or an accessibility requirement to get me from A to B. But then when you see how troublesome it can be, when you see the lack of support that you find in places, then it annoys you, it winds you up. And that when you find that there is someone with such a passion because either they have been discriminated against or they have had an issue in getting from somewhere just to watch a football game, then you want to make sure that they can get their voice heard as far as possible. And this is one of the big things that Robin and ourselves kind of really believed in. It's something that technically it shouldn't be a website that we need to have. It should be everyone that should be able to get from A to B. But the reality is this isn't the case, and Rob's doing a fantastic job to do that. When it comes to other kind of charitable sources, again, it's a belief. You don't just do something because you want to do a quick free website. You do something because you believe in what you're doing. So Rob is one of the best kind of examples of something that we do in the relationship that we have, because as I say, this website shouldn't have to exist, but thankfully for Rob it does exist, and thankfully for the viewers and the people that are reviewing and actually getting the information, they can look at that before they even go somewhere and still then have a good time because they know it's going to be a very good place.
Thank you, James. So my question to Rob, do you have any specific asks to the audience or businesses to grow this initiative to the next levels?
Yeah, I think it's important that we try and reach out to organizations to see how we can help them. I mean, you mentioned the sponsorship packages, but I think it's important for those organizations to see that, connecting with a business that is truly focused on better accessibility. And I won't say perfect accessibility, because no such thing exists. We move on and things change and things get better and better. Where I was in terms of accessibility and my lived experience 40 years ago is so different from where I am today. But for those companies, I say, give us a try, get in touch with us, see how we can help you, because there's no point in me just coming on here and saying, well, give us some money, but come and see how we can help you. At the moment, we're here and we're waiting to hear from you, and we want to see if we can help your company as well.
Thank you very much. So my next questions to James: what technologies do you see shaping the future of accessibility in the next 5 to 10 years?
The famous crystal ball question that's always there. So it's a very hard one, but because again, it's growing so rapidly. So we said, there's voice technology really coming to the front. AI is absolutely booming. It's definitely one of the biggest keywords at the moment that people are using. But then you've got immersive technology and virtual reality. They're becoming more of a mainstream. So what's having to happen now is more people are trying to actually understand how that's being used and what's happening. You've got you've got consoles like the Xbox that are going above and beyond for accessibility. So there's so many different ways that we can see how that's being done. but at the end of the day, we need to make sure that the interface is working. So because they have all of these technologies, we need to try and test and understand how each one interacts with each other. We've always said that, you know, at the end of the day, Google is a screen reader. It's making sure that your content's right. So I think making sure that whatever you're creating, making sure that your content and your information is easily understandable and can be consumed in different formats, then we can push that into the different devices, the different voice recognition tools that I'm not going to say in case it sets anyone's off in the room, things like that. We need to make sure that they can consume quite easily for you.
Mm-hmm. That's great, James, because, you know, as an AI scientist, data scientist, I've been working with various AI projects and technology projects. So the technology is changing so fast. So if you're thinking something now, you need to think about when you implement your system, are that going to be outdated, isn't it? Because it's moving so fast. So if you're planning now, the way you say that you need a core planning, you need to understand the audience, you need to lay out the foundation, you need to do a lot of other things. So if you do not think about 2 years later that the foundation you wanted to lay out are going to be outdated when you start working with that. So in my opinion, that's the biggest challenge. So businesses, they are not working people like you or me or other. They have core understanding, like, okay, what they are making and how they are preparing for their customer to achieve their success in the future. That will be a hard thing to do. What do you think, James?
It's true. It's you know, trying to keep up with this, and when you have to then deal with an organization, you know, say the size of a university, you know, this has come through so many different layers to get a part of, and then you have to implement it. But then, like I say, it's become out of date. So it really is trying to find a good middle ground of what we can try and achieve. Let's, you know, great to kind of reach for the stars, but we need to actually get a nice minimal viable product for the user to actually allow them to understand it a bit more. You know, it's something that Rob believes in quite heavily. You know, let's get something out there so people can actually understand. Let's get them to use it, because having nothing is worse than that. Let's have something little and we can build upon that. So then we can maybe find a new technology or a new bit that could just integrate with it a little bit better. So don't go for the big bang. Go for the little bits. Help people step by step, gain their knowledge, gain their information, and you can build upon that.
Thank you, James. And thank you, Rob. Thank you, everyone, for your questions. And if you're watching this live webinar, feel free to share this recording with your friends and family, because James is here, Rob is here, and we will get more benefits if you share this episode with your friends and family, because James had a tendency to support like Accessadvisr organization, charitable organization. It's a core belief, as he mentioned. So if you wanted to contact James, the social media is out there, from LinkedIn, from YouTube, and as well as from Facebook and any other social media. You can get access to James and Rob. So I will move back to next segment of this webinar. I wanted to ask Rob, you know, accessibility, we know that this is a core needs. And due to my job and traveling different places, I have seen something a little bit different. The need in the UK and the government and all other things, the legislation and everything is different than if I move back to like Asia. If I move back to any other places, I can share a story of my recent travel through China. Accessibility is there, but it's not actually shaped in a way that UK shaped the way. So what do you think, if Accessadvisr wanted to reach outer of the UK, how you wanted to change their perspectives and supporting people out there?
Well, I think at the moment we have to start really small. You know, we have the website, people can rate and review their places in countries anywhere in the world. So we're not just a UK-based website. We have the Facebook group where people can come and join from anywhere in the world. So that just makes the point, I think, that we can make small, very small differences around the world, and the more people we get from all over the world, the better. I think that's going to be the key thing. We want to grow, but we can't take on the world in one go. We're busy enough now just trying to deal with our changes here in the United Kingdom. But we will, I think there's a question there. What role does user-generated content play in making Accessadvisr impactful? Well, user-generated content is basically keeping it real. It's not just me telling you as a powered wheelchair user that I can't get into this place. It's someone with a visual impairment or a neurodivergent disability, or who is neurodivergent, explaining how they do it. So user content is important. The more people we have that join us on this journey, the better. And I can't stress that enough. I don't want it to be about me. I want to move away one day and watch it grow and grow and grow. But the more people we have, the better it can be. And hopefully people can follow the links, wherever they are, and come and join Accessadvisr. Come and get our Facebook group over 1,000 subscribers. Get us up to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, so we can start hopefully raising revenue through YouTube, through our content videos. I'm on a hard sell now, so I'll better stop, because it sounds like I'm just selling stuff.
No, Rob, we need to sell things, because if you don't ask people, you don't get the support you required. So the more and more you ask people for support, among them someone will come and on board with you, like I did, like James did, and all other supporter of these Accessadvisr groups and channels. They are supporting, even with their sometimes they don't fund, but sometimes they they extend our opinion to the greater levels. So one thing I wanted to ask to James, that I see questions regarding content, although accessibility and as well as website, if you wanted to get to the greater audience, you need greater content. How important it is for anyone they're thinking about the future of websites or any application, what they think about content planning and other things.
Content is so important. You can make the best, most accessible websites in the world, but content is something that could easily become inaccessible straight away, because you can essentially copy and paste from anywhere. So it's making sure that you take the care and the precision in writing the content and addressing your audience as you would, making sure it's the right tone of voice, making sure that it's easy to understand. Just to give you a couple of things, getting rid of kind of links that say click here or read more, because they don't have any context whatsoever. So making sure that you're creating engaging and accessible content is absolutely vital. We're really lucky at HeX. We've got a wonderful team to actually create that and make sure that they build that forward, and therefore can share it on the social channels. And making sure that you have a wealth of knowledge, it gives you a platform to demonstrate the knowledge and the information that you have, to share it with people. You're not just writing it as a computer, you're writing it towards users to allow them to understand and consume it a lot more. So be that blog and news content, or actually a service page, talk to them as a real user, talk to them as a real person, and they will be more engaged. They will more likely engage with you, and they will more likely have a conversation with you.
Thank you, James. I have a next questions to Rob. Can you explain how accessibility benefits everyone, not just people with disability?
I think you were going to ask that, because it really is important, because it touches on the point that what we're doing for people, for disabled people, does have a benefit. So let's take something as simple as an automatic door. That's brilliant. It stops people with people in a power wheelchair like myself, who has no strength in their arms at all, it opens automatically. But you know what? It also opens for people who are carrying heavy luggage. If they're going into a hotel from an airport, it helps people with prams and push chairs if they can't push the door open. It's got so many advantages. So we're not just working for disabled people. We're seeking to try and improve accessibility for a wider community. It's just that we're using the lived experience of disabled people to do that. And I think that's a really important thing. So I'm doing it for myself. I'm not going to deny that. But what it's also doing is going to have an impact on other people. I just wanted to, there was one question there: what can we do to support and advocate for accessibility? Well, just share this live link. Think about accessibility. I know it's difficult. If you haven't got that lived experience, it won't always come to being able to support and advocate. But think about it and talk about accessibility wherever you are. Try and reach out to people that may not understand the issues of accessibility, and spread the word in your community.
Thank you, Rob. And James, thank you very much for joining today's live webinar. And I also thank all the audience. You're watching this live webinar. We are going to be doing another live next month. So every second Tuesday of each calendar month, we're going to be doing Accessadvisr live webinar, and we will bring specific guests to talk about accessibility and how they are shaping the future. So today we had our special guest, James Hall from HeX Productions, and we talk about a lot of different things today about accessibility, about HeX Productions, how they're supporting Accessadvisr and other companies in the UK, and creating the momentum for the future of accessibility, and as well as other as well as supporting the community. So we are nearly end of the sessions. I wanted to ask James, do you wanted to add any remarks or key takeaways from this live webinar to the audience?
I think key takeaways will be, expand on what we've learned today. Let's expand on what we're learning before. Let's go and talk to people, talk to real people, trying to understand what we need to do, and push forward the education, push forward the advocacy for accessibility as far as we can. If we find that there's a blocking point, let's talk to the community. Let's find a way around it, just like Rob's doing with Accessadvisr. Let's talk. Let's try challenge this together, because accessibility is not just one person. It is everyone trying to achieve this.
Thank you, James. Rob, as usual, if you wanted to add anything, key takeaways for the audience.
I can always find something to add. Firstly, before I touch on the key takeaways, there's a question about technologies shaping the future of accessibility, and James has already touched on it, but I'll give you a real life example. James mentioned voice control. I'm down here in my art studio. I have an easel which was made for me by a company called Remat, which I can voice control to move up and down and left and right using the A word. I won't say it because it might start moving everything. I've got the air conditioner which works on the same voice control. So voice control is important. And I see AI as important. I don't know how, because I don't really use it, but I'm sure there are people out there in the accessibility world like James who will be using AI and virtual reality. Coming back, my key takeaway, I think, is just to say thank you to James and HeX Productions for everything they've done for Accessadvisr. We've been through numerous iterations. We've come to HeX Productions now, and they've supported us for a number of years, and they've helped us grow, and they're continuing to help us grow. And it's finding those other companies like HeX Productions that will come and join us and be part of that journey. And let's take accessibility forward.
Thank you, James, and thank you, Rob. So we're just end of our session. So I again thank you, all the audience, and your questions, because your support can get us the coverage and as well as the strength that we wanted to achieve. So Please support our work, Accessadvisr. Visit our YouTube channels, like and subscribe our YouTube channels, and be a member of our Facebook group, and as well as visit our website to see what is out there and how we are shaping the future of accessibility. It doesn't matter you are a disabled person or you are a non-disabled person. It matters that you support us with accessibility, because it's a great need. As a disabled person myself, and Rob, Trent, uh, if you go out and if you don't know that there is a proper accessibility information there or accessible place out there, we struggle. And we know that many of our audience here also struggle. So we wanted to make this more fairer for you, and as well as grow this accessibility Accessadvisr initiative to the next level. So until my next episode, thank you very much. And I just wanted to thank Rob and James for your contribution and time, and see you with our next lives next month, second Tuesday. Until then, stay tuned, and bye bye.
Bye.